Warning, there will be spoilers for the first two episodes of The Bad Batch Season 2 ahead. If you haven't seen it yet, proceed with caution. You have been warned. The Bad Batch Season 2 has begun, and with the first two episodes dropping on Disney Plus just a few hours ago, the anticipation is high for this sequel to the acclaimed first season. Roughly 6 months have passed since the cloning facility was destroyed in Topeka City, Camino, and the enhanced clones of Clone Force 99 are still not very good at staying out of trouble. With new paint schemes to their armor, Hunter, Wrecker, Tech, Echo, and Omega working hard to win their freedom. But not freedom from any individual, but rather a life that doesn't involve them taking on missions for Sid, the Trandoshan smuggler, thief, and contractor. But does the first two episodes live up to the hype that has been generated over almost 2 years of Earth time? This is my honest review of The Bad Batch Season 2 Episodes 1 and 2. If you love Star Wars as much as I do, or you're just a casual fan wanting to talk about the greatest franchise ever created, then you've come to the right place, because Star Wars is all I talk about, and I upload new content, whenever I can. So if you have an interest or love for Star Wars, go on and hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications and join this growing channel for deeper discussions, theories, and Star Wars lore. Each one of you is appreciated more than you know. Now, let's get on with today's topic. I know when I say honest review, it kind of sounds like I'm going to be negative in this video. However, that is not entirely the case. It's a little hard to explain. Stick around, you'll see what I mean. But I will ask the question now, with the explosive opening to the first season, does this season live up to what has come before? Now, I'm not talking about the entire story. I can't judge an entire show off the first two episodes. I'm only speaking comparatively. Look at the first episode of The Bad Batch Season 1. Order 66. The death of Depa Billaba, the escape of Caleb Doom, a.k.a. Kanan Jarrus, and how the galaxy turned upside down in a single moment. It would be hard to top that, or even come close to it, really. I'll be the first to admit. But I still ask you, how do you think the first two episodes of The Bad Batch Season 2 compared to the first two episodes of The Bad Batch Season 1 in your eyes? I'll get to my thoughts on it in just a bit. So, 6 months after the finale of Season 1, The Bad Batch is trying to lay low, trying to keep out of the sights of the Empire. And that's a good idea, since the Empire believes Clone Force 99 died on Camino during the bombardment. But their semi-trusted Trandoshan contractor has other plans. The next mission, go to the heart of the former Separatist leader's stronghold and retrieve treasure from Count Dooku's fortress on Sereno, a fortress that is being heavily guarded by the Empire. Hunter has his reservations about the mission and says it's too much of a risk, but the rest of the outcast clones think it's a good idea to take the mission. Why? Because they need the money that would be generated from it in order to hide permanently from the Empire and its conquests. Cracks are beginning to show in the otherwise tight-knit of Clone Force 99's brotherhood, or sisterhood in the case of Omega. While the past small hit-and-run missions have been a success, Echo feels they aren't doing enough to fight the Empire. But it's true, Echo only became a member of the Bad Batch because his cybernetics no longer made him feel like he belonged with the Regs, or regular clones. He wasn't genetically modified during his creation, so he's still a bit of an outsider. He didn't grow up with Hunter and the others, and he didn't train with them, nor fight with them for the majority of the Clone Wars. That doesn't make him any less a member of the team, though. But these are things to consider when we discuss his dismay for what they're doing. The others are successful in convincing Hunter that they need to take this mission. It's the big score that could buy them a tiny island somewhere out in the reaches of the Empire. But would that rest and relaxation that comes with retirement be satisfying for the clones created for war? In the process, Echo makes a misunderstood comment about Omega, and she is the reason for them being in the situation they are in. Understandable, she should get upset about that. When the Bad Batch arrives on Sereno, there is a garrison of Imperial clones monitoring the removal of Count Dooku's fortunes. This is the spoils of war, as the first title suggests. So, 6 months after the Empire eliminated the cloning process, clones are still being used. This gives us more of an idea as to how long it's going to take to replace them permanently with stormtroopers. When all is said and done, the mission was a failure. Clone Force 99 barely escaped with their lives and apparent freedom, a hard lesson to anyone willing to take the chance at something big, hoping for a greater payoff. Sometimes you fail, but you never quit. Okay, that's a synopsis of the first 2 episodes in a nutshell. I'm sure you've seen it, and you don't need me going on and on about it, and I'm sure some of you are waiting patiently for my thoughts on it. Some of you. Well, to be blunt, I thought the first 2 episodes were just okay. Not bad, not great, just okay. Well, let me explain. When I watch Star Wars, I look for certain things. While these episodes were full of action, that isn't the first thing on my mind. I look for world building, character development, and lore building. These 2 episodes did have some of that, but not as much as we would expect of rogue clones trying to hide in a changing galaxy. Yes, Omega showed improvements, both in her physical strength, and she seems a little less like a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed misfit. That's good character development, given everything she went through in the first season. She's still a bit of a nonconformist when it comes to prioritizing the necessities of the team rather than a bigger gain. I know she really wanted to prove herself to Echo and complete the mission, but she was going about it in a way that could mean the lives of her and her guardians. But it seems she learned that lesson the hard way. It was nice to return to Sereno and see what has become of the late Count Dooku's home after the fall of the Separatist movement, a once mighty fortress reduced to being plundered and near destruction. As nice as that was to see, I have to ask myself how this giant structure survived so intact from an aerial bombardment when the rest of the city's small dwellings were reduced to rubble. It's a pretty big target, and it seemed largely untouched, compared to the rest of the city, that is. I don't know, maybe it's a tribute to the horrendous aim of the Empire. And speaking of aim, there were tens, if not hundreds, of Imperial clones shooting at the Bad Batch, and not one hit their mark, not even a shoulder wound. The only injury sustained was Tech when his leg was crushed. That wasn't even caused by an opponent. But one of the biggest differences between the clone army and that of stormtroopers was their aim. Yet these guys and gal escaped unscathed by enemy clone fire. I know it's an animation and we want our heroes to survive. Otherwise, it would be a short season and death in this show should be at a minimum. But say that to Captain Wilco. I'm not saying that Hunter or any of the others should have been killed, but in a skirmish such as this, someone would have been wounded, especially given the accuracy of clones compared to stormtroopers. I know I sound a bit harsh in my assessment, but it wasn't all bad. It's an interesting start to the next chapter in the story of the Bad Batch, and I'm not comparing this to other Star Wars projects. They're different stories with different kinds of storytelling, but maybe my own expectations were too high. We're coming off a first season that opened with a bang and ended with an even bigger bang, only to pick up in a way that seemed mundane or average at best. We're also coming off the brilliant writing of the Cassian Andor series. If I were to compare the first 2 episodes of each of them, there really is no comparison. However, as far as a new addition to Star Wars mythos, this'll do. It isn't the best, and it damn sure isn't the worst. I'm looking at you, Star Wars Resistance. In all fairness, this show is going to rely heavily on cameos and fan service to prop it up. The story will be intriguing, but it continues down this path. It'll need the bigger names and faces to keep it afloat for a sustainable future. And I sound way more critical than I mean to. Have you seen the first 2 episodes of The Bad Batch Season 2? If so, am I being too harsh? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'm sure the show will get better if they get rid of Sid. I don't know, maybe that's my main issue with the show. I've never been a fan of the Trandoshan that sounds more like a 60-year-old diner waitress who has smoked for far too long than a hissing, untrustworthy hunter.
Would you like some coffee with that, honey?
Before you go, if you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button and leave a big stupid thumbs up for the video. It really does help me reach more of an audience. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, this is Gerald, a Star Wars fanatic, signing off, wishing you all great health, happiness, and peace. Be good to each other. Thank you all for watching, and remember, this is the way, and positivity in the Star Wars community is the only way.